Alrighty, so today we're going to be having a look at doing everything we've been doing, but in the calculator. So, turns out everything we've been doing, the calculator can do for us just about for free. So if you've ever noticed your calculator giving you these weird symbols like that, when you click the fraction or the square root or the power button, that's because you're in the wrong mode, 90% of the time. And you can tell because it says the word stat at the top. So how do we change mode? Well, you click on the mode button. We're normally in the comp mode. 4 over 6 is, 2/3. But when we change into the stat mode, you can see I'm in the stat mode now. If I go 4 over 6, well, it just doesn't look quite like fractions, okay? So sometimes it can look a little bit weird. If that ever happens, you can just click on the comp and we're back into comp. Today I want to learn actually how to use the stat mode. So if you click mode, see 2 for stat, now we get this menu. Now this menu is quite scary. It's got lots of things in it. We're only ever going to click 2 options, 1 or 2. 1 is for one var, one variable, whereas 2 is for a plus bx, for 2 variables. So while we're doing univariate data analysis, we can just click on 1 var. So let's click on 1. Oh, and I've got this column that you probably won't have. Let me just turn that off for a second. Alrighty, so this is what yours should look like when you open into it. It's just an X column and nothing in it. So for this, we can just enter in our numbers. We go 1, and then we go equals, and then my next number is a 3. So I go 3 equals, and then I've got a 4, and then I go 4 equals, and now I'm just going to go and enter all of these data really quick. So 2, and then 1, and then 0, and then 3, and then 1, and then 2, and then 4, and then 0, and then 1, and then it's 0, and then a 2 and a 1 and a 0 and a 1 and a 2 and a 2 and a 3. Okay, and there should be 20 numbers, as there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 20 numbers there, and you can see here that there are 20 numbers. So I've entered in all of the numbers. If you need to go back and edit them, just use the arrows up and down to just go up and down. If you want to edit a number, you just type over the top of it. That's not a 4, it should be a 4. And then you can click equals afterwards. Alrighty, so once you've entered in your data, step 2, clear the screen. Scary, click the AC button, okay? Just do it, click the AC button, okay? Where's all my data gone? Whoa. Alrighty, well, if you see down here, you'll see there's a yellow stat. If we go shift 1, that's gonna bring up the stat menu. And we see number 2 is data, so let's click number 2. Okay, there's my data, and you can see all 20 numbers are still there. So I haven't lost it. Let's clear the screen again. Shift 1. Now there are 2 options in here that we're actually going to use. 4 for var and 5 for minmax. Let's do 4 first for var. So 4 brings up this menu. We've got some hieroglyphics to understand. We've got n, x hat, row x, and sx. Well, n is the number of numbers, x is the mean, x hat is the mean, row x is the standard deviation population, and sx is the sample standard deviation. It's the standard one we use. So if I wanted to work out how many numbers there were, well, I know there's 20. I could click 1, and then if I click equals, that'll tell me how many numbers there are. Let's do another one. So shift 1, 4, 2. Okay, this should give me the mean when I click equals, and it does, 1.65. Remember, you do have to click equals after you select something. If I go back in there and I want the sample standard deviation, well, that's number 4, and it's 1.27. Well, that was a lot easier than working it out by hand, but it's good to be able to do both. Alrighty. So in that menu 4, you can get all of those options. The 2 standard deviations, mean, and how many numbers there are. Nice and easy. It's not answer, just this one. And you can see there's my other my population standard deviation. Alrighty, let's go into minmax, which is the other fun one to look at. So if we click on 5 for minmax, you'll see there's minx, maxx. Well, that's going to give me the min and the max. Q1, median, and Q3. So this is my 5-number summary menu. So if I click on 5, well, that gives me Q3, 2.5. If I go shift 1, 5, and I want the median, well, that's 1.5. If I want the minimum number, well, I could just click on 1. Oh, it's 0. I mean, I could have just looked over here, but the calculator can do all of this for us as well. So that's how we can use the calculator to do it. But what if our data comes in a frequency table? Well, as you saw at the beginning, you can have a frequency table. So let's go mode 2, 1 for 1 var, and this is what your thing should look like when you get into it. We want to add the frequency table, we have to go into this yellow setup menu. Because it's in yellow, we have to click the shift button. There's a little down arrow. This is the first 8 options. There are another 4 options on the next page. And you'll see one of them is titled stat. That's the one we want. So let's do 3 for stat. And it's just a question, frequency on or off. In this case, we want the frequency on. Now that I've got my frequency table out, I can enter in my X values as before. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And for my frequencies, I just need to go through and type in those frequencies. So it's a 5 for 3, 9 for 4, 3, 5, 2, 6. And there's my data entered in as a table. And from here, I can just go clear the screen, shift 1, and then if I go into 4, there's my mean. If I need to work out the standard deviation, it's going to be SX if I want the sample standard deviation. There's my standard deviation. So it's really, really quick to use the calculator to do a lot of these calculations. Obviously, you need to round your answers to the right spot. And only sometimes can you do this. Sometimes you do need to do it manually, but just be mindful. Now, once you're done, you will notice that when you try to click on the fraction key and stuff like this, it's looking all really ugly. So make sure you go back to comp mode when you want to do, say, 4/10. It's just not going to look the same otherwise, and lots of people get lost. Your calculator's not going against you. You need to learn how to change from one mode to the other mode. And that's all. Alrighty, so that's how you can use your calculator. Mode 2, always 1. And if you ever need to turn off the frequency, you can always go into your setup, click on 3, and turn off your frequency. I know some people like to only turn it on when they're doing frequency tables, but just make sure you know how to do both. Alrighty, I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.